Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are going to do my poll planning video for the month of October. October is going to be wild and crazy. Things are insane. Things are still coming at us like very quick. Huge announcement coming in a week, by the way. So kind of a disclaimer I would say on this month's poll planning video is on the 28th of September. So that's going to be like, we're pretty much going to get Celsius and then we're going to get this announcement, right? So you don't have to like bank too hard on your poll plans yet. I would say let's see what this announcement is on the 28th. It could highly impact your poll plans depending on what it is, right? They announce a collaboration. They announce FF16s come in. They announce a global JP merger. There's a lot of things that could influence your poll plans. So I wouldn't invest too heavily on what you're going to do yet until you see that. But as things stand now, I'm going to look at what has been announced for the month of October and kind of give you my poll plans. And as a bonus this time, because one, I think LD only characters get more value, and because the LD only characters are mentioned here, I am going to mention if I would highly recommend any of these LD only characters, especially at Force Enhanced level 50, right? So let's go ahead and start with Celsius. Now, Celsius right off the bat, he's a very, very good character, and because he's a brand new character, I'm going to say for me, I'm going to guarantee to at least get his kit up to FR. Now, if I'm going to go in full on BT, I'm not quite sure yet, but he is a very good character. So he is a battery healing character, which is a very, very good thing to have. He deals damage and then typically will heal you back based on the damage he deals, and overflow healing comes back as battery to the party. So very, very good. He has a not common mechanic, which is revive. Not a lot of characters have that. So his EX can revive. And his LD is going to increase, like it has an effect that like affects the party brave gain a lot as well. And then the BT gets a very powerful with his BT a powerful HP plus attack, which also like will heal the party based on the damage, and it does a lot of dumps, very good damage, right? The really cool thing about Celsius, which I think the BT is what's going to make him like kind of busted for me, is that he does an HP poison on the enemies, and it's scaled on a percentage of his HP. Now, if you have Celsius's crystal color, crystal room done, and you have like a ton of HP on him, I think that poison could actually be really, really interesting. And then it also makes it so the enemies can't act. So for me, when I say I might only go up to FR on him, for me it's just more showcase purpose to have the character. But if I really want this character, I think he's a character you want the BT, because getting that basically BT paralyzed in there with the HP poison kind of reminds me of like Pain a little bit with the HP poison. I think he is a very powerful character. So I definitely think he is a good enough character to go in on if he's somebody that you're interested in, right? Lana and Rain, everybody should probably know by now. I absolutely despise Lana and Rain. I hate them in this game. And it's not necessarily their fault. I talked about this with Strago's video, but they are absolutely 100% an AoE specialist, and they look really good in 3-target fights, but they are pretty much unrunnable in single target fights. So do I want to invest in a character that's unrunnable in a good chunk of the game, and then against 2-target fights, which most of the game is, they're just like okay, like they're average. So like, do I want to invest in a character like that? Probably not. So I would highly not recommend Lana and Rain. And then looking at the LD only characters, Neon, Clouded Darkness, Guy, Shulk, I don't think there's anything crazy there that I would want to note about them. Like, they're okay if you want to go for them, but on this banner, I would say it would just be focusing on Celsius if you're going to summon. I think he's really the main thing that would be worth going through on this side here, going for. Then we have Fujin and Zidane. Now, I'm very excited for these guys. Fujin, for me, is like 100% I'm all in. I've always loved Fujin's base kit. She was kind of a meme because, like, she wasn't, like, that great. She had actually a pretty bad FR condition. But I really liked her. Well, now what they did is they gave her the upgrade she needs to be really good. And they made her FR actually very, very good now. Like, a lot better than it was. So if you're not familiar with Fujin, she's a character that she's had a little bit of launch, a little bit of delay. She's one of the best wind enchanters in the game. And she has some off-turn traps, right? Well, what they've done now is they've kind of transformed her into an actual, like, launch specialist. So she's going to, like, way more consistently allow launching. The BT effect heavily increases the damage you deal during a launch. The FR scales, like, when you do launch damage and damage during the launch, like, you're gaining a bunch of percentage. So she's just an insane, like, new launch specialist character who I think is going to be very good. Her numbers are a lot better, and what I like about her is she has like these wind traps, and the wind traps start hitting a lot harder and doing a lot of damage. So yeah, I think Fujin's just going to be a really fun character. She does a lot of really good things. for the party. And now, like, her FR is going to look a lot better. The launching is going to be insane. The damage is going to be crazy. I think Fujin's a great character to pick up. Zidane, he's very similar to Locke in that he's like one of these jack of all trades characters, right? He really does a lot. Now, I'm not sure exactly how his damage is going to compare to Locke, but he does have a ton of utility. So if you like a utility character that does a lot of things, his damage probably won't be top tier, but it's going to definitely be improved, right? He's going to get a lot more dumps on his attacks and everything. But just to go over a few of the things Zidane does, he can delete turns, which I think that's probably the most valuable thing about him. So he has like instant break, and when he breaks, not everything he does is instant break, but when he breaks, he deletes turns. And this character is probably the single best character in the game that can most consistently delete enemy turns, right? There are other characters like, say, Anna Crow that can do it, but it's only on the EX, right? Ultimecia can do it, but maybe not as consistently as Zidane can do it, but he can pop it out, right? You combine Zidane with someone like Noel to enable you to always break, that is kind of crazy. Now, it's not as busted as you think, because Zidane, the way he works is he's like lightning, where he like breaks and steal turns. He only deletes turns if he steals a turn, and as you guys know from lightning, you can't steal turns on a free turn. So if you want to spam turn deletion, you have to like steal a turn, then break it up with an AA, and then break and steal a turn again. So you can spout off some major turn deletion with him. You just can't do it like back to back to back with like actual breaking attacks. But Zidane's cool. And then he also has launching in his kit, by the way. I believe it's on his EX. And then he can actually heal with his BT effect. So he actually gets like a really fat heal. It's anytime he inflicts a debuff, he's going to heal while his BT effect is up. And then he's also like a very solid debuffer. Puts some like decent debuffs down. So yeah, Zidane I would say is like just a very nice, well-rounded, solid character. He's definitely not a must-pull. But like he's going to fall into that class for like players like me. If you already invested in him, have him green-blue, like he's definitely like very much worth getting the FR. So my plan is I'm for sure going to get Zidane FR. I'm going to go all in and get Fujin BT. I'm going to go crazy on her. Reigns, I would shout out, as a side character here. Reigns is a nice pickup if you want like another good launch character. And keep in mind, like when you're thinking should you pull, you're getting Force Enhanced 50 characters here. So you definitely want to pull some of the characters this month because you want to get on board with Force 50. Reigns, I will always say about Reigns, you definitely need to get his LD call if you don't have it. So 100% his call is going to be a must pull here. For most veterans, like the side characters won't matter because you're probably going to have most of them built already. But I do want to shout out Reigns. I think Charlotta's a nice shout out because she's a BT FR character that like does ramping and stuff, and getting her at force level 50 I think is a really nice pickup. Sink and Lion, they're not so much that you want to go for. Once again, they do have a little bit more value, being that they have force 50, but I don't think Sink and Lion are LD characters I would chase at this time, but there are some that I would coming up here. Alright, so the campaign banner, I do feel like this is worth mentioning because we got Reena and Arena, and they are getting force enhanced 50. Now I'm going to say Reena, she's going to be a little underwhelming because she's not getting any rework at this time, and the last time she had a rework was a while ago. Her damage, like, I think Renoa's value is that you're going to get okay damage out of her, and she's still force enhanced 50. But what I'm thinking of, if you're going to bring like an underwhelming character at force enhanced 50, I think you want a character with a little bit more utility than Reena. Reena is more of like an Unga Bunga damage dealer, and her damage has fallen way off from Unga Bunga. So I think Reena is 100% a skip. Arena, on the other hand, is a more recent upgraded character, has FR Echo, does very nice damage, has launching. Arena, I think if you don't have her already, she could be a really nice pickup if you want a DPS at force 50. Obviously, for me, these are both skips because I got them all done, right? Next slide here. To me, I think personally this is the least impressive set, Fusio and Kieran. Fusio is kind of a magic damage dealer. He's like a paralyzed specialist, which is fun. Like if you like that, you could go for that. But I'm not like crazy. He is getting a BT here, which is nice to give him that upgrade. He's definitely looking better, but I still don't know that I would say Fusio is going to be like a top choice. Kieran, I think, is a character that does go under the radar a bit. Like I think he is like a really nice like Aurabot type support character with a bit of healing, a bit of brave gaining, does some things that you really like. He does get like a fairly powerful HP plus attack. I would say though, Kieran, though, there are like support characters that are going to be a lot better than Kieran. And I think Kieran, though, if you've already invested in him, like definitely like jump in if you want. If you want to use him, his Force 50 is gonna be looking nice, right? He is getting a rework, so I think Fushia and Kieran, if you've previously invested, like they're definitely worth like going in on and using if you want to. But Fushia, I don't know if I'd chase his BT, to be honest. I think there's better BTs to be grabbing. But Kieran FR, if you already got the BT and stuff, definitely grab his FR, because like getting a support character now that's gonna have Echo and Force 50, there's a lot of value to that, right? I think Celsius is gonna be like probably one of the nicer like support characters in terms of like the healing and battery that he does. He's got the revive, so I like Celsius right now for like a nice support character. I would say overall though, for most players, these are fairly skippable. But I do want to shout out on the side characters. I think Layla's a super nice character, like a sneaky good character you could grab for Force level 50. Now, what I like about Layla is she is like an evade counter character, but she's very unique in that when she evades, she counter heals you, so she's gonna counter heal, and she pulls the whole party up. Now, normal Force era, she's been really bad because you're pulling up a character, like her damage isn't gonna be good because she's LD only, but I love the utility of like the dodge, the heal, bring the party up. So if you're doing a more aggressive comp where you want to be in front of the enemies, Layla's going to be really good again now, because with Force 50, even though her on-turn damage isn't crazy, it's okay if you're stealing turns, as long as you have a setup where you're bumping the gauge up, you can get yourself to 999, and then she's going to help you get a really good retain, and then you're still abusing this dodge, bring the party up mechanic. So I think Layla is a really good benefactor of Force 50 that we can now look at her in a positive light again, and I think she's going to be really good, because when she first dropped, dare I say she was like the best unit in the game. Like she was crazy when she first dropped with LD, like LD only era. Like Layla was insane. So the fact that she's coming back, I think she is a character, like definitely not a must pull. And I wouldn't say any LD character is like a must pull. Well, maybe Selfie, maybe Galuf, who we're gonna talk about later. But most, like, it's hard to say like an LD only character be a must pull, right? But Layla is a really cool character to snag. Now, unfortunately, she's going to be on, like, these banners here. But, like, if you're interested in Fusio or Kieran, I think keep your eye out for Layla. I think she's going to be really cool. All right, let's go here. Cater. Oh, my goodness. My girl, Cater. She's 100% up my alley. I think Cater, this might sound crazy to y'all, she might be my #1 character of the month. And I have a huge bias towards Cater. But, dude, she does so much that I love. And if you guys who all took my advice on Kelger know how insane these dodge counter characters are, Cater's a dodge counter character. Now, Cater is a character that, like, if she was still LD only, I would love her during Force Enhanced 50. She'd be an instant Force Enhanced 50 for me, and she'd be putting up work while she's getting BTFR. Oh my god, I'm so excited for Cater. All right, let me get into it a little bit. So, she locks the enemies onto her, and she has 100% dodge, and she counters. Okay? Now, another really nice thing about her is she can just flat out inflict freeze. Y'all have seen with sets or how busted freeze is. Freeze is so good. When the enemies can't gain brave, they can't touch you. And she's dodging, and she's countering. And guess what? She's got traps too. These are all really busted things. So off-turn counter, off-turn traps. You got freeze. She's locking on, right? Well, her BT, like when I first saw her BT, I'm like, my eyes got so wide. I'm like, are you kidding me? So BT gives her double counters, and you get party-wide 100% dodge. This is Edge's mechanic, and I just talked about very recently how I thought even in like old FR era that Edge is a really busted LD only character because of the party-wide dodge and the counters. Cater's doing that as a BT FR character, and it's I don't know, it's busted. So I think Cater is my #1 pick of the month. I would highly recommend her, especially if you love playing characters like Kelger. Now, running Cater and Kelger together probably won't be the best idea because they need to dodge. Like, they're going to be fighting for dodges. But if you're fighting all attacks, if they're doing a ton of all attacks, you can get away with both of them. But, like, to have both characters, like if you're doing lockout, to have the option of either one, she's spicy. I like Cater a lot. I'm going to admit, I'm going to say this right now, I am 100,000,000% biased towards Cater. So other content creators might not recommend her as much, but I think she is 100% a stellar, amazing, fun character. Love it. Going all in on Cater. Edgar, he's pretty much doo-doo, unfortunately. We've had him fairly recently. He's come back a couple times. He's just kind of this weird weapon type debuff specialist to make enemies take more damage from all the weapon types. So basically all weapon type in peril. Drops down a weird one-turn trap that's very powerful, but it's only one turn. Edgar's kind of a throwaway. Unfortunately, me being a Final Fantasy VI fan, love the game, but Edgar is, they haven't done him well in this game, unfortunately. And then Force 50, let's see, we got Galef, Lise, Edward, and Zell. Now on here, I do definitely want to shout out Galef. And I'm going to tell you this right now, if Galef is on Cater's side, whew, that's a spicy banner, because Galef, LD only, he's an instant force level 50 for me, and he is a dodge counter tank, right? Cater's going to be better because she's got BTFR, but Galef is a super uber amazing budget, and with Force 50, he's going to be even more valuable in the party, so I think Galef is definitely worth chasing as an LD only character. Now, veterans won't matter, you guys are going to have Galef, you know how amazing he is, but I'm hyped for Cater. You guys can let me know if you agree or disagree with that, but I think Cater, dude, she's my top pick of the month. She's awesome. All right, and then we got the question mark banners, which we will talk about. Intersecting Wills, this should be Kadaj and Leo. I can't talk about the side characters because I don't know what they're going to be here. And then Spiritus is going to be Alexander with Deuce and Vivi. Now, I'm going to say that I think both of these are skippable if you want, but both characters are very good. Kadaj, so Kadaj is very interesting, and I think I like Kadaj better out of the two. He's definitely interesting. Like, he gets a big damage bump here. What Kadaj is known for is he's a gold debuff character. So he puts down gold debuffs, which essentially are impossible for the enemies to get rid of. Kadaj suffered from the same problem that made Leo awkward, where they kind of fixate on a character, and he literally has a buff called Fixation that he puts on an enemy. And when you attack that fixated enemy, he does more damage, and he does like a follow-up, which is really cool. Well, his rework fixes that, where it allows you to put fixation on multiple enemies and keep the stacks at 5, because you want the stacks at 5 to get the max out of it and do the follow-ups, right? So what the BT does is it makes it so the entire party gets those follow-ups when they attack a character with fixation, and you're going to be able to put fixation on everybody. So Kadaj is just going to be a really nice damage dealer, gold debuff specialist, and you get some nice follow-ups. And what's cool about Kadaj, and if you want to watch my previous stuff on Kadaj, he has some cheese where, like, he's able to turn all of his debuffs. Any debuff he inflicts, he can make it a gold framed. So that includes debuffs he gains from spheres. So you can be kind of cheeky, put some debuffs that he doesn't normally carry on spheres, and then you can allow him to gold frame those, which is kind of cool, right? And then General Leo, I think at this point, you probably want to stay away from Leo. Like, once again, he's a recent-ish character to get his upgrades. He does very good, like, single target damage. He does the true HP damage. I kind of like his call a lot. But I think there are way better damage dealers out there right now. I think, since Leo's last drop, there's just, like, way too much competition on him. Now, if you already have him built up, putting the Force 50 on him is perfectly fine if you're going to use him. But I did find that Leo is a little wonky to use because you got to focus on, like, certain enemies at a time. Deuce and Vivi. So Vivi, once again, not a fan of Vivi right now. He's not getting, I don't believe he's getting a rework here. If he doesn't already have Echo, he might be getting Echo. I could be wrong on that. But, like, Deuce is really the main character you'd be looking at here. And Deuce is kind of like she's a support character with some Brave Gaining and some healing. She's a very good aura bot, and she does some extra buffs, I believe, to help magic damage, so she works really good in magic damage dealing comps. I would say the big thing Deuce gets is she gets improved damage overall, and her BT does give her, like, some really nice follow-ups, right? So Deuce, I would just say she's a nice character. Like, if you like her and want to get her, you can go for her. I don't know that I'm going to chase the BT on her. For me, like, Kadaj and Deuce, for me personally, I think I might be skipping on those, but for me, a skip is I'm still going to probably ticket a character at least to FR. And then if I'm more impressed with them, I might go deeper than that. But to kind of recap here, guys, a Cater's my number one. That might sound crazy. And then Fujin's my number two. Dude, Cater and Fujin, man. And then Celsius, I think, is really good too. I think if you're looking for, like, your healing support character, grab Celsius. But, dude, Fujin and Cater, man, some spicy. Those are my top three. Celsius, Fujin, Cater. Let me know what you guys are going to pull for this month. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.